Good day, my name is Aldo. I'm the inventor of the Exit Emergency Ladder. I'm here today to do an instructional video on how to install this permanent mount bracket for the exit ladder. This will allow your ladder to remain bolted to the wall near the exit window. It's quite a convenient feature and a nice one. To do this today, you'll need a couple of simple tools. I have here a very simple battery operated stud finder. It'll help me find the structural stud in my wall. I also have a very small finishing nail and a hammer that will help me find the center of the stud, which is important. I'll explain to you later. A pencil to mark some things, a drill to drill some holes for the bolts, a ratchet to put the bolts in, and a pair of scissors to help prepare the bag. So, to begin with, I need to determine where on this wall I would like to put my bracket once I find the stud. And in this application, I think I'd like my bracket higher up on the wall, or my bag higher up on the wall. One place you don't want to put it is you don't want to put it so that these quick clamps in my left hand that rest on your windowsill, because when you go to test the assembly or to practice, they'll dent the wood of your windowsill, and that's not anything you desire. So I'm going to put a little mark on my wall that I can take off with a pencil. It's right about here to mark my height of where I want it. Now I'm going to use the stud finder to find the stud in this wall. My stud should be right about there. Okay, so my finger there, I'm going to take my little finishing nail. I know the height I'm going to want it right about here, so let me take the finishing nail and I'll drive a hole. So now it's hit the stud. I can feel that because it's giving me resistance. But as I said earlier, it's important to find the center of the stud because we're going to be putting such a load on this that we want to make sure we get all the bolts into the stud thoroughly. We don't want any of the bolts to miss the side of the stud. And the way I'm going to do that, now that I know where somewhere in the middle of the stud is, I'll keep moving the nail over slightly until it misses the stud, and then I'll know that that's the one side of the stud. I happen to know that this house uses standard studs, which are 1.5 inches wide. So there's the side of it because it slipped by. And so I know my left side is right there. I'll mark that. And my right side will be right about here. Once you've found the sides of the stud and you know the height that you want to mount your bracket, you can put it up on the wall and mark where you're going to need to drill your holes. There are 3 holes. So I'm going to make 3 marks like this. Be sure that the bracket is mounted vertical properly. If you want to use a level to check that, but I can eyeball this and see that it's pretty good. Okay, this step 2, now we're going to prepare the bag, because the bracket's going to bolt through the bag onto the wall so that when the ladder is on the bracket, it's inside the bag on the wall. You'll see that at the end of the video, or the beginning. This is a 2-story bag. For a standard 2-story and a 3-story, there's a seam at the bottom of the bag. You want to just put the bracket onto the seam and then mark the bag. I'm putting the bracket in the middle of the bag. I've already put the marks on here. Once you have those marks, I'm just going to use a standard pair of scissors. I'm going to pull the fabric up where the mark is. I'm just going to make a little cut so that that'll allow the bolt to go through the bag and hold the bag in place behind the bracket. You can do this with a razor knife or something else. Just be careful not to hurt yourself. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the bracket, we're going to take a bolt, and we're going to put it through the bag to make it easy to handle, and then I'm just going to take it and make sure I'm starting out with the top bolt, and I'm going to put it in the top hole. And you'll notice that I'm going to use a smaller size socket ratchet. This is just a 1/4 inch size. The next size up is a 3/8 they call socket driver, and there's a 1/2 inch. This smaller driver helps to ensure that I don't overstress the head of the bolt. Because if you do that, you can weaken the bolt. You don't really want to do that. Before it gets all the way to the end and pinches the bag, I stop. It's pretty close to the wall though, and I'm just going to set the other bolts while I can move it all around still. So now I'm setting the middle bolt. Now I'm setting the bottom bolts. Tightening the bolts so that they are snug. I'm not over tightening them. Great. This is the last step of this process before you test it. And we've got the standard 2-story ladder here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip the webbing off the hook, because the hook then becomes part of the assembly in the hook here in the bag to hold the ladder. If you'll notice on the bracket there are these 2 little lips. If you slide the hook in the lips, all of a sudden the hook now creates like a shell for the ladder to sit in. And then we've got these quick connects. We're going to have to connect this in a way, it's almost upside down, so that when you throw the ladder out, the standoffs are facing the inside of the wall. So if I place the ladder on the windowsill like that, the way it's supposed to go, and I bring this up, this is the quick connect, and I loop it through the right way, I'll get it right. And one of the things we recommend is that you get some thread lock or something like this from your hardware store and put it on the threads if you're pretty sure you don't want to take it loose. This will make your install just a little bit better. Great. So this is now secure. Then what I want to do is put it in the bag so that it's ready for when you want to deploy it. I like to put this in bottom down. Better method. All the webbing in there. Now, we're ready for the most important part of the installation, which is testing it. It's testing your installation. We test our assemblies to 1,000 pounds at the factory. That doesn't mean that your wall or windowsill will hold that kind of weight. What we recommend in the next step is absolutely critical to being sure that you have a safe install. It's very easy to do. This is the last step in the installation. It's the testing step. You want to be careful that you don't damage your house in this process, but you're testing not the ladder, but the installation into your wall. I like to do this safely by having 2 adults just climb up the bottom step of the ladder and make sure that the installation holds. And so we'll do that real quickly and then we'll come down. And so that installation seems to be satisfactory.